Hey, welcome to the process. My name is Dr. John Bush. Not sure my Thursday game script recorded. My bad. Hopefully we can. I'll listen to this beforehand, so we will make sure there's audio. Week 2, Sunday game scripts, matchups, rankings with uncertainty. I'm presenting my defense against the position information. Lots of different streams of information inspired not for you to follow blindly, but to give you different aspects to consider when thinking about waiver wires, trades, daily fantasy sports plays, lineups, etc. Uh, Never have liked just a sheet of ranked players, play number 7 over number 8. Why? What's going on? So I try to give you a lot more information to consider, especially good tie breaking in a lot of these other data streams here. At least that's the idea. And, try to allow you to think for yourself a little bit. It's not for everyone. I know people are rushed and got to do things quick. And sometimes a list of players are just, easy to do, but it's not, it's just not fair if I were to do that. So, because this is what I do, this is my process. So, first type of information that I'll have on each Sunday's games will be the Vegas information, over under spread, favorite, underdog, that kind of thing. High scoring, above average scoring, below average scoring, and then low scoring. So right there, we're trying to focus in on the aspects of PPR point gathering for your team. Players that coming out of high scoring, should on average score better than players coming from low scoring, which tends to be more defensive. At least that's the idea. It's good to know what Vegas thinks. Is it a blowout? Is it a close game? Big difference on things that might occur in a big blowout. Uh, I've seen, playing quarterbacks and such that if they get so far ahead, they just start pulling players, and that's never good. We want all the plays and all the points we can gather, so it is something to consider for this week. And who's the favorite? Who's the underdog? Uh, Garbage time points, usually the underdog. They're behind and they have to flip the script and start passing and speeding up, and potentially you get more points than you might if it's a close game. So it's good to think about kind of how the game's set up. Next piece of information is defense against the position tables, DAPs, I call them. So now we're getting into player groups, positional groups within the player versus team versus team matchups. Do the opponent's defense, are they easy or tough on running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, etc.? What's their overall ranking here? So we give you the team, the opponent, is it a home or away game? Overall aspect of the defense, is it super easy, above average easy, below average tough, or tough? So green to red. And then the specific positional DAPs. And it starts allowing you to frame a game script there. At least that's the idea. Then finally, I have my rankings. My rankings are FSPRs, Fantasy Sports Rankings, and what is the estimated uncertainty level. And we'll get to that here when I explain. I have some verbiage, and this will be, of course, on the scienceoffantasyfootball.com. You can look at all this as much as you want. My rankings are scaled 100 to 0. Some players break the mold there and are higher. And then each player is under one of three columns of uncertainty: high, average, or low. High uncertainty players have a broad or extensive range of possible outcomes this week. Players with low uncertainty should have a narrower range of outcomes. So in some ways, the rankings may be closer to the range of outcome distribution with low versus high. It could be very extensive. That doesn't mean the range of outcomes is poor for a high uncertainty. It just means the ceiling and floor could be pretty far apart, so you could get a goose egg or you could score lots of points. You just need to be aware. So I guess if you're thinking of, do I need to gamble or push, my team this week, then high uncertainty players that have a nice ranking, you might get more than you think out of those. So low uncertainty players on average thought to be safe, in quotes, whatever that means, and high uncertainty players less safe for lineups, DFS plays, etc. Think about the rankings around my projections 0 to 100 here. So certainly high ranked players of low uncertainty should be the best, and low ranked players with high uncertainty should probably never or very rarely be used. At least that's the idea. Okay, so week 2 here. And again, I'm not saying this is absolute. Follow this without thinking. These are just tools to inspire a deeper level thinking than just looking at a list of players high to low. That just never have been satisfied with that. Is the 7th player really better than the 8th player on your list? What is the defensive situation? Is it in a high scoring game? Right? Is the uncertainty levels different between 7 and 8? You see how you start teasing out that decision versus, okay, I always go with 7. Sometimes 8 is better under certain conditions. So this is all designed to make you think, and that's all I can do, because that's what I do. Yes, I do a lot of rosterbation. Hey, it happens. Go over and over, and sometimes you overthink, you underthink. Been there, done that. With 50 leagues, setting lineups can be quite interesting. Then, of course, injuries and things that muddies the water as well. Okay, so it's never a straightforward thing. It shouldn't be. So the first information that I like to start out with, kind of a top level approach, a landscape, is my week 2 team power rankings. So I give an estimation of the best and worst teams for week 2, and I use a combined certainty, DAPS, Vegas. I try to weave in some of that data algorithmically. I'm not showing that. Top to bottom. Green teams are, the best top teams of the week, suspected top teams, and the lowest ranked teams in red are the the lower wing. And this, I think, starts to at least make you push one way or the other, especially between, say, a 7th and 8th ranked player. So this week, probably unsurprisingly, Buffalo, Denver may be a surprise. The Rams, that should be Cincinnati, not CIB. My bad. Philadelphia, Kansas City. So these teams probably are favored and probably will win. Teams that are on the bottom: Seattle, Houston, Chicago, Jets, Tennessee, Giants, Carolina, Jacksonville. They're going to have to do a lot more. And just on average, the depth of players I'm fishing in those teams is probably less than, teams like Buffalo, Denver, etc. Probably, you can get deeper into the rankings there, into the depth charts. And so here it is. And I scaled the power rankings to the average, and you can see the teams above average in green, teams below average in red. So it just starts framing out the situation, what you think, what may occur, what may not occur. So that's the idea. My dog's hey, what do you get? What do you get for free? Okay, so that's one aspect, and a completely different aspect is uncertainty level. So I actually calculate how many players on each team have high uncertainty, average, and low, get a total, and then calculate the high and average uncertainty players and divide that by the low uncertainty player number. Of course, with Carolina, it's 0, so I had to just cut it off at 10. So that's a guess, but that's an extreme situation. No low uncertainty players in Carolina week 2. So those teams would be the trickiest. And I guess you could say less safe, maybe. We haven't got, we're kind of moving down the information here. It's not power rankings now. This is uncertainty levels. So if I'm looking at players to play, Carolina, the Giants, Denver, etc., some of the other ones, this makes me think and look closer. This makes me apply some critical thinking. It's a warning to think about this a lot more in your lineups. Okay, doesn't mean you can't play Robbie Anderson from Carolina or DJ Moore. It just means you should think about it. There may be some other similar options that are maybe from safer situations. All things are equal. You look at the power rankings, you look at the DAPS, look at Vegas information. I mean, you have a lot of things you can pile in, but you start framing the things. And of course, the green teams here: Tampa Bay, Minnesota, the Chargers, Green Bay, the Jets, Buffalo, New England, Dallas, Tennessee, Cincinnati. I was surprised at Dallas coming out, giving Cooper Rush. A little skeptical about that number, but hey, when you use algorithms and things, sometimes numbers come out and you're like, what? So nothing's perfect, right? You look at this, and again, it's just inspiring us to think a little bit. That's it. And, the idea that we're providing easy, just follow the numbers, paint by numbers kind of thing, I just think it's a disservice to everybody. I understand sites do that, but system-based decisions, which is what fantasy football is never clear-cut and obvious, right? People try to invent rules of thumb, hierarchical rules to play, play your studs, etc., etc. I mean, you've heard these rules. Play the home team, whatever. Uh, that's just a simple way, and it saves you, I guess, if you're 2 or 3 6 packs in, then I guess you're setting your lineups, then you probably need something like that, okay, versus just random. But this is for people who want to think a little deeper, a little longer, probably too long, okay, because you can look at things a little too long. Okay? But anyway, I'm providing you the information that I like to use and consider, okay. If you're asking me, and I guess, uh, what is the percentage weight of each of these metrics? I'm probably not sure I'll ever have time to figure that out. To me, if you can make money, that's kind of the ultimate uh, test of any process. But I suspect if I had time and more computational skills to write programs to strip data out and form databases, you know, and test all that, it would be nice. I'm a biologist, not a math stats person. I use that, but I'm not an expert in stats or math. Okay, but I have applied those concepts. Okay, this is the H high and average divided by low. This is the metric, and you can see the high teams very distinct, and I colorize the next wave in a light reddish pink, and then here's the safer teams, and then here's kind of the average teams in blue. Just to frame things, it doesn't mean that Minnesota is less safe than Cincinnati. I think you can just kind of consider these are kind of pretty safe. These are about average safe. These are getting a little tough here, and these are really where you need to put a lot of effort in to think about. So it separates out levels of critical thinking you need to apply. Okay. Another way I look at this information is using the Vegas information. What are the highest scoring games of the week predicted? At least above 49. Uh, we have, I think I messed this up. Raiders, Cardinals. I think this should be, no, Raiders, Cardinals. It's 52. Here's 49 for Lions. 3 points. They're figuring the Raiders more of a blowout over the Cardinals. I don't know about that. That seems funky to me. You see, even though I show you the information, I'm not sure I buy that. I don't know. That's weird. Lions and Commanders, they're going to be very close. Okay, so that's kind of my takeaway there. Here are the dApps for Washington and Detroit. Detroit's home, Washington away. The defenses that they're facing are both super easy. Notice the green offensive type, easy, easy. Washington, Gibson, McKissick, easy. So that's good news if you're going to put them in a lineup. Quarterback Wentz, easy. Looks like him and Logan Thomas, the tight end, may have a connection. Looks like the wide receivers are going to have to work a little harder. Doesn't mean they won't do it. Just going to have to work a little harder. Washington might be a good defense to play this week. You can see it's above average. The kicker's good news. So it kind of, gives you some information here. Detroit, easy. Swift's going to have to earn biscuits a little bit. whereas Goff and passing seem to be on tap here, and Hockenson's going to have to earn his. Doesn't mean Swift and Hockenson won't. It just means that it looks like this is a good week for Amon St. Brown as a play. Okay, so I'm pretty satisfied with a lot of players that I own from this team. I'm looking forward to this game. Raiders Cardinals. Raiders facing a hard Arizona D. And remember, all this is from last year's defense, right? We don't have enough data this year. Okay, so it's stale data. Things are not always the same. So when I said the Raiders were favored over 6 points and Arizona figures to have a tough defense, Raiders, Jacobs, and whoever have a tough way to go as the running backs here. Carr has a below average tough game, but his wide receivers, maybe Renfro gets it done this week. Vontae Adams, so I have some hope. Waller's going to have to earn this week. He had a nicer matchup last week. Tough this week. I wouldn't use the Raiders D or the kicker. Arizona figures to go against an easy defense, and Connor should have an easy running back matchup. And Zach Ertz might actually pop up here. They don't use the tight end like they should. Saw my snap report information, but there it is. Here's the issue, and maybe this is why Vegas is thinking that the Cardinals can't win, because the passing D of the Raiders was tough last year. I don't know. I'm definitely playing Connor and probably Ertz if I have no other choice. Yeah, streaming Ertz this week has an opportunity. Okay. So now we could go to Washington, Detroit. Everybody looks pretty good. Here is Detroit, the team, the position, the player name, the uncertainty level, the overall, my rankings. So I would play the D or the kicker. Goff has high uncertainty by my rankings, but I still have hopes that he's going to hit St. Brown. St. Brown is low uncertainty 57. That means above average, so that's not bad. There's some opportunities there. Hockenson has high uncertainty because of this matchup, but 86 is nice. So if I had Hockenson, I would play him, but wouldn't be surprised if he didn't come through. But wouldn't be surprised if he scored multiple touchdowns. I mean, that's what that's saying. There's a lot of possibilities here this week. If Swift doesn't play, then Williams is average. I consider Swift, if he plays, should have a great opportunity, but high uncertainty because of injury and other aspects. So it's kind of a good news, bad news situation here on the two, at least two of the three playmakers here, Swift and Hockenson. Brown is the only one that figures here, but Goff is not the best quarterback. He did okay last week. So that's how I look at that. Notice there's the clarity. I can't just say, oh yeah, do this or do that. You just need to think. Washington, I would use the kicker or the defense probably. Wentz, average uncertainty 42. He sure looked good last week. we'll see this week. This may be an under ranked here. I do like at least it's not high uncertainty. That would really concern me. Gibson figures and McKissick figures. So I'm not concerned about those. McKissick's a nice RB4 type this week for sure. Logan Thomas at right at average. He could get you a touchdown this week. McLaurin above average, but high uncertainty. I like Dodson, but he's at 36, and him and Samuel are almost back to back here. I like Dodson over Samuel, just he's a little bit more safer, I guess. But Terry McLaurin could, score a touchdown at any opportunity. Dodson seems like the point man, and I would lean to play him given this high predicted scoring. So in this case, in a low predicted scoring, I probably wouldn't want to play Dodson. But with the Vegas saying there's going to be a lot of points, that encourages me to use him and maybe even Samuel or McLaurin. So you have to weigh all that, right? Definitely using, I feel like Gibson's the sure play, and I think the others are, and Logan is probably my next sure play. And then I feel like there's opportunities here as well for your wide receiver 3 types this week. Okay. Arizona. They're thinking Murray's having a tough time. I've got him at average. Picker's okay. Average 70, not bad. He's low QB1, high QB2 type. Connor figures all day long. Ertz figures as well. Worried about the wide receivers here, how this all sets up. The best one, Brown, has the highest uncertainty, so I am concerned there. I would double and triple think if I put these Green or Deutsch in the lineup. Not saying I wouldn't, because I do like the high points, but I think they're thinking that Murray's going to be confounded and they'll be running or passing to the tight end more. So I'm trying to kind of envision what is Vegas and the defense telling me. Finally, the Raiders. The Carlson, the kicker, looks great. Carr, 64, not bad, but high uncertainty. You could get a lot or a little out of him this week. Jacobs is an issue. All the RBs are an issue this week. Waller, great opportunity, great ranking, but high uncertainty given lots of aspects here. So I'm not, I don't know what we're going to get at. We could get 2 scores, we could get a goose egg. That's what I'm talking about. To me, I really would focus on Adams is the sure play, and Renfro is probably a good wide receiver 4 play this week. Average uncertainty. Okay. Let's see, 28 minutes. Okay, I'll do, since we only have 2 above average scores, I know most people don't want to hear me run my mouth. I think you got the idea of how I do it. But we'll do above average, around 47 points. Colts favored over the Jaguars. Rams are favored 10 points, 11 points. They're going to supposedly, Vegas says, spank the Falcons. I think it's a lower scoring game than what they think. And Colts, Jaguars, I think, is higher. I think the Falcons, their range of outcomes is pretty tricky this week. Pretty tricky. Okay. Colts in Jacksonville. Jags fight a tough Colts defense, but Lawrence gets easy and is tied in this week. I would play the defense or the kicker. The wide receivers, I know Kurt though, and Jones, everybody looked pretty good last week. They were peppy and catching. They're going to have to work a little bit. I'm not totally scared off because Vegas thinks it's above average, so there should be some scoring. But I don't know if James Robinson and ETN are going to be able to put up what they did last week. A little less enthusiastic this week. The Colts, Jacksonville's easy. Jonathan Taylor should feast and feast and feast. Quarterbacks, easy. Pittman, if he plays, easy. I think Mo Alley Cox or others could collect as well. I could see multiple three scores here from Indianapolis. This could be a great thing. Defense, kicker. Looks like you want to play everybody on the Colts this week. I like that. That looks pretty good this week. Atlanta figures to walk into a buzzsaw against the Rams. Tough, very tough against Mariota. Tough, and Pitts is the only one that might pull them out. I'm playing Pitts this week. Okay. Would play the kicker as well. See a lot of field goals from Atlanta not quite finishing up. So to me, he's a great kicker this week. I wouldn't play the D. Patterson, less enthusiastic this week, but it's not totally a hopeless case as is Drake London. So a little bit down on Atlanta. I don't think I can see yards, but not a lot of points. I guess the bend but don't break thing from the defense of the Rams. Rams, on the other hand, Stafford gets to show last week was a fluke with his dead arm or whatever he's got. I just was a little concerned about him this week. Overall, easy. You want to play Henderson all day long. Stafford should be hitting Cup all day long, and Robinson should get in. The tight end, Rams like a slam dunk defense to play against Falcons. So that was what Rams. Okay. So Indianapolis, Matt Ryan, I got him at 31, but this high uncertainty, I want to think that may be a little low in his rankings. You know, maybe I'm a little under him. I'm just not, I don't know, not a great fan. I think Taylor scores multiple times, and Himes could even collect if this gets out of hand. So, RB4, I think you could play him. Mo Alley Cox may surprise this week, maybe in streaming territory. Pittman should be a nice play, average uncertainty, but if he's not playing, I don't know about the other two. That could really limit Ryan's thing, and that may actually help Hines. So if Pittman's out, maybe it's Hines that collects. Taylor does his thing, Hines out of the backfield, maybe Cox in the red zone. Can see that. Jacksonville, defense, kicker, Lawrence at 27 high. Not sure what we're going to get. ETM's at 52, so about average. RB2-3. James Robinson right there. Maybe an RB3 this week, but these guys are high in average uncertainty. I'm really less enthusiastic than I was last week. Ingram could surprise us this week, folks. He would definitely be in my stream conversation. Kurt should get all the scoring, but Zay and the two Jones brothers, high uncertainty, low, but their ranking is half of Kurt, so I could see them getting about half of Kirk's point. Not overly enamored with Jacksonville. But, I think Ingram has a shot. Okay, let's cover Rams versus Atlanta. This is the last high average, above average scoring game, 47 points. Rams are favored in a blowout. That seems on paper like a reasonable thing. I just think the Atlanta Falcons may do more than folks are thinking. But anyway, Rams D, 75 average. Uh, average uncertainty seems good. Kicker, I'm all about that kicker. Stafford's, I give him a 56, above average, but wasn't so enamored with what he did last week. I'm going to watch. In some teams that I have a one quarterback, I actually picked up another one just in case that he's struggling with his arm or whatever it is. I really think Henderson has an opportunity here. I haven't discounted Akers at all, uh, but I think they're both high uncertainty. Not sure what we're getting, but I think Henderson's the safer of the two. But I still consider his range of outcomes to be high, but he is about average. Higbee may collect here. This is very intriguing, but again, high uncertainty. Cooper Kupp seems like it's all about that Cooper Kupp 90, low uncertainty, pencil him in for multiple scores. I hope I have him in some nice. Allen Robinson, it's kind of like Cam Akers. I don't know what to think about that. I got him at a 42, so it's about a wide receiver 4 or 5 type. Might give us more value down the road, but I don't know the consistency here. I'm really not sure what's going on here at all. I am perplexed as to what's going on with the Rams. So it's going to be a good week to watch this game in a blowout situation. What happens? They get too far ahead, I can see them just trying to run, and Kupp doesn't get as much as I hope he will get. That always worries. Atlanta, the kicker's fine. I've got him in a bunch of my leagues. I thought he did well last year, so I'm happy about it. Playing Mariota, I think Mariota's Mariota, and he's at 25, so he's definitely a QB2 type. Don't think it's the week to training, but that's what we're talking about. Patterson, a little bit above average. If he's all you can play, I would definitely play him. I would run away. Definitely, I see him low uncertainty. Just don't know if he's going to put it up like he did last week, but I think at some point. Hits 109, so he's off the charts. My opinion, he should collect lots of passing PPR goodness. I just don't know. Touchdown, you never know. Drake London seemed to be a wide receiver 3 type. He's at 40, maybe a little less. But he, if I've got to play somebody, I would play him. But things are pointing to there may be other options. I do not know why Bryan Edwards wasn't involved, and I'm not ranking him or Zacchaeus very high. Zacchaeus uh, always confounds me. I'm just not sure what he does there. It's just very confusing on that. So Atlanta is a big question mark in a lot of ways. I think Pitts is for sure. Patterson, if you need him, in the flex, maybe. Uh, I wouldn't be playing Mariota unless you got in a super flex. Okay, that's my 10-cent tour. Hopefully my audio worked and we're all good. And that will be great. And we will see you Monday. I'll try to have the Monday game up, try to have the audio working. We got 2 Monday games, so hopefully we can go through here and crush this business. Good luck Sunday. Uh, please check out all the goodness. I have my snaps report. D Mike put his consistency stuff up. We're doing podcasts. We'll have 3 podcasts this week. They're not 2 or 3 hours dragging on. Let's get drunk podcasts. We're pithy and jaunty. So, you don't have to invest so much time in them. Anyway, good luck. Thanks for listening. This process. My name is Dr. John Bush. Thanks for listening. I applaud the 1 or 2 that are listening. Thank you. It's well deserved, and I just hope I can help you out. And you know, check me out on Twitter. Send me a message. Say, hey, you suck. Okay. Some people think I do, some don't. I don't know. Take care.